want. नहीं है Zoom. क्योंकि जब मैं इससे शेयर कर रही हूँ तो आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Ma'am,
Yes.
you can start.
Yes.
Ma'am, you can start.
Okay. Meanwhile, you can download. So good afternoon, students who are present in this class. Let me introduce today's guest with us. We have Dr. Lalji Singh with us. Dr. Lalji Singh is Additional Director, that is Scientist F, and Head Botanical Survey of India. He has working in revisionary, exploratory, and conservation studies on flora of India, more specifically of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And also he is working on plant morphology, anatomy, especially aerial roots in dicots, and he obtained his DPhil degree in botany from University of Allahabad. Dr. Singh has discovered around or more than 25 taxa, including a genus, as a new to science, and describe occurrence of aerial roots in 13 dicot taxa, phloem wedges in roots of some Bignonaceae genera, and vessels in some pteridophytes, vivipary in some non-mangrove plants, and phenology of 73 tree species of ANI for the first time. He has published more than 160 research papers in leading national and international journals and authored 2 books. In view of socio-economic and environment security, one of the most significant findings and invention of reusable, eco-friendly drinking straw, a novel way to replace plastic drinking straws, is he got patent in year 2023. It will be substitute to synthetic hazardous straw that we generally use for drinking juices or you can say some shakes like things. In future, it will emerge as preferred choice, not only in those islands, but also at global level. He is also fellow of most prestigious International Botanical Society, the Linnean Society of London, and other Indian botanical societies, and the contribution made by him in the discovery of Dendrophyte lalji, Portulaca lalji, Sistoria lalji has been much recognized and honored by the international botanist, which is evident by conferment of specific epithet lalji to authentic names. He is actively involved in technical and advisory services for various committees, editorial board members of Journal of Andaman Science Association, Phytotaxonomy, Global Journal of Botanical Science, International Journal of Biological and Environmental Investigations, Flora and Fauna and Outreach Programs. Dr. Singh is known for his excellent contribution to the field of anatomy, especially on areas of roots, taxonomy, and conservation biology. He devoted his time to the exploration and collecting plants and worked in revisionary, exploratory, and conservation studies on flora of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, one of the hotspots of biodiversity in India. Today, he will be giving lecture on plant diversity at Andaman and Nicobar Island and overview. So, welcome to Dr. Singh again at University Lucknow campus. And request to start your lecture, please.
Thank you, Dr. Mala Trivedi. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Dr. Trivedi, I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So, Yeah, respected dignitaries from MIT University, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, dear participants, a very good afternoon to all. I am thankful to the organizers, Professor J.K. Srivastava, Director MIT Institute of Biotechnology, and Dr. Mala Trivedi, Head, Doctorate of Research and Publication, MIT University, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, and his colleagues for giving me this opportunity to share with you my views on floristic diversity of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So Andaman and Nicobar Islands represents a congruence of three types of ecosystem: marine, mangroves, and inland forest ecosystem. Coastal ecosystem fulfill many ecological roles ranging from shoreline protection to buffer zones, from land-based activities and pollution to feeding, breeding, and nursery grounds to many marine species. Andaman Nicobar Islands are very rich and unique in India in terms of plant diversity, which has attracted time to time by various workers worldwide. If we go in the history, we can find beginning of the botanical interest in India dates back to the entry of Portuguese for trade of plant and other forest products. Subsequently, Arab, Turkish, Dutch, French, and finally British traders entered in the country. British established East India Company and subsequently garden at Sipur, Calcutta in 1787 following the recommendation of Colonel Robert Kidd. British Government of India in 1890 established Botanical Survey of India under the direction of George King, then Superintendent the Royal Botanic Garden, as its first ex officio director. The organizer's mandate was to explore, collect, identify, and document the rich plant resources of the else British India. So knowledge based on the resources, it was recognized in the after independent, it was recognized in the 1954, and Dr. E.K. Janki Amal was appointed as officer on special duty by Government of India. A scientist who was born in the southern Indian state of Kerala in the 19th century. He studied a wide range of flowering plants and reworked the scientific classification of the several families of the plants. Subsequently, a number of regional centers were established in the various phytogeographical regions of the country, and as a total of BSI has 11 regional centers today, 4 units and 2 botanic garden. AJC boards Indian Botanic Garden at Havda, West Bengal, and Botanic Garden of Indian Republic at Noida, Uttar Pradesh are working with the prime objectives such as exploration, inventarizations, and documentation of the phytodiversity with more emphasis on protected areas, hotspots, fragile ecosystems, and publications of national flora along with the conservation strategy. So this slide is showing the glimpse of the 11 regional centers of our premier taxonomic organization of country, Botanical Survey of India. So floristic diversity of India is noteworthy for its biodiversity, with 2.2% of world's land area having 11.4% of flowering plants. Plant diversity of India stands at 55,726 taxa, including 20 22,215 angiosperms, 83 gymnosperms, 1,321 pteridophytes, 2,835 bryophytes, and 3,088 lichens, 15,812 fungi, 9,085 algae, and 1,288 microbes as per the based on our publication Plant Discovery 2020-23. In India, the floral diversity is concentrated in 4 phytogeographically unique regions: Himalayas, Western Ghat, Northeast India, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So, Andaman and Nicobar Islands possesses a distinct identity not only because of its geography, history, and culture, but also because of the unique and rich biodiversity of its natural ecosystem. Tropical evergreen forests, wetlands, mangroves, and coral reefs. It is also part of one of the hotspot of biodiversity, Sundalands. And historically, it is very important for our country. On December 30, 1943, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose hosted first independent India flag in Andaman and Nicobar Islands at Gymkhana, now named as Netaji Stadium at Port Blair. Port Blair is renamed as Sri Vijayapuram. He also announced the islands the first Indian territory freed from the British rules, that is British government of India. It is a pleasure of country. So this is a glimpse of the geographical details of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. We have a 9 national parks, 1 biosphere reserve, and 93 wildlife sanctuary, and total number of islands is 572. Inhabited islands is 31 islands. And Andaman Nicobar Islands is a group of the 2 islands, Andaman group of islands and Nicobar group of islands, and both group of islands is isolated by 10-degree channel, and this 10-degree channels making a very trouble for the transportation from one island to the other island. So highest point in the Andaman group of islands is Saddle Peak, and it is a very rich plant diversity area and very rich in the forest cover. And in the Nicobar group of islands, is the highest point is the Mount Thulier, having a 670-meter height. So this is a glimpse of highest point in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Saddle Peaks. And this is a glimpse of Mount Thulier, situated in the Nicobar group of islands near Navy Dera. So this is a glimpse of Pterocarpus delbarzoides. This is a endemic species and commonly called as pride of Andaman, and having a very good quality of the woods. And earlier, Britishers taken wood of this tree for the wall paneling and making of the Buckingham Palace. So this is a state tree recently declared and suggested by our organization, Botanical Survey of India, Largestomia hypolyqua, and commonly found along with the roadside and periphery of the forest in throughout the South Andaman group of islands. So forest types of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So especially 3 types of forest are common: mangrove, beach vegetation, and tidal swamps, and experience with the evergreen forest and deciduous, and some areas also occupied by the grasslands and hydrophytic vegetations. So this is a glimpse of the mangroves vegetations you can see, and this creek is situated in the Nicobar group of islands and very difficult to reach up to this creek. But our BSI scientists regularly exploring and surveyed these types of habitats. So this is a tidal swampy forest showing the nematophores, negatively geotrophic aerial roots, and how can acclimatize in the adverse condition. This plant is throwing the message of our human society also in the nature. So this is a glimpse of the one of the mangrove forest, and this is a glimpse of the beach vegetation and very beautiful and clean beach in our islands. So this is a beach vegetation and beach forest. You can imagine how can the botanical scientist of the BSI and other botanical scientists how can reach inside the forest and make the survey and document the plant explorations. So it is a very difficult task to explore some remote areas of this island. So that's why I in the first slide, so this is a very unique geographical region with rich plant diversity. So this is, we also have a natural waterfall. This waterfall is situated in the Little Andaman. As I told, for Andaman Nicobar Islands is a group of the 572 islands. This is the one of the islands having a very beautiful and adventurous waterfalls in this area. This is a Gross Islands situated in the Nicobar group of islands. So if we see the history, botanical history of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands date back to 1719 when Colonel Kidd visited the islands and introduced some Andaman plants in the Royal Botanic Garden, Calcutta, now Dr. Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Botanic Garden, renamed as, which were later described in Roxburgh Flora of India 1850. This is the first flora of our country, is well documented. And Colonel Robert Kidd was a British Army officer stationed in the India. He was interested in the horticulture and proposed the idea of a botanic garden and finally found the botanic garden in Calcutta 1787. It became the Royal Botanic Garden Calcutta, now as I told is known as Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Indian Botanic Garden. His idea was that in should help in the finding alternate sources of food to prevent the families and identify plants that might be commercially useful. He was appointed superintendent of the garden and enriched the garden by the collection made from the various geographical regions, including the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So this is the slide showing the natural painting made by the natural color by Roxburgh, and he is recognized pioneer of Indian botany and father of the Indian botany, Roxburgh. So approximate 700 paintings are in our Calcutta headquarter. Original paintings are deposited, and this is a image of the original painting made during the time of the Roxburgh. So in 1839, Helfer, Russian geologist, visited the islands with a view to ascertaining the mineral resources and also made extensive botanical collections. But these, after her murder by Aborigines on the North Andaman, were unfortunately mixed up with his tenserine plants, and all were labeled as tenserine and Andaman, which resulted in a great deal of confusion. Till date, nobody can able to identify which belongs to the Andaman, which belongs to the Tansarim. So still this complexity is existed in the botanical world. Botanists like Kurz, Parrish, Prane, King and Rogers made some botanical studies between 1866 to 903, which together and with his own efforts enabled Parkinson 1923 to bring out a forest flora of the Andaman Nicobar Islands. This is the first flora. Thereafter, flora of Andaman and Nicobar Islands has been explored and recorded time to time by various workers and published. So recently I have been published Flora New Vistas in Indian Flora, 2 volumes, especially focus on the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And after independence in 1972, for survey and documentation of the plant wealth of our islands, one regional center of Botanical Survey of India established, and with the focus of the documentation of plant wealth of 572 islands. Till date, what we have achieved, we have a till date 255 exploration tours. Assessment seats of the herbarium 40,000, type specimens 420, new genera 5, new species 432 to till date. This is the old data, and published 7 books and 1248 research articles. Library holdings 5123 books and journals, and we have a excellent center of conservation of plant diversity of islands named as Dhannikhadi Experimental Garden cum Arboretum. There is approximate 600 species are under conservation. So this is a floral diversity, PBL, as I told, this is a glimpse of our herbarium and internationally recognized by acronym PBL. So PBL has more than 40,000, approximate 80% of the herbarium specimens are virtual. Now anybody can access digitally online, and more than 2 million people are visited in our BSI herbariums till date. And herbarium specimens are remainings are in progress, and lichen herbarium has a 4,600 species. Of them 52 species are very rare and endangered. So this is a oldest herbarium collection of our Andaman Nicobar Regional Center, which was collected in 1809 by Dr. Deprane. So this is a glimpse of our virtual herbarium. You can see the label and handwriting of the Dr. Deprane collected in 1891. So you can imagine that time there is no facilities, but how can they do the survey and document the plant wealth of this country. We also have a museum, approximate 500 exhibits for the public awareness. So this is a glimpse, and one of the interesting longest infructescence of the wild banana, longest worldwide, not found in the any country. So fruit axis infructescence, you can see in this slide, over 4 meter long, and plant stature is 12 meter long, and this I can show the fruit quality and the plant in the next slide. So this is a glimpse of our herbarium museum. So this is the display of the in our uh, museum of BSI NRC. You can see some photographs. So this is a camera lucida drawing display in our museum. So this is made by myself and Mala Trivedi, very well known in our Pant laboratory. Camera lucida, how can do and how can draw. So this slide is showing the phloem wedges in the roots of the Bignonia, Doxantha angus catai. But earlier, we know only occurrence of phloem wedges is a characteristic feature of the stem of the lineage of Bignoniaceae. But it might be a genetical feature. So I'm not going to detail to talk it, but this is described for the first time, and this camera lucida drawing display in my museum. It's my pleasure. So this is a glimpse, scientist of BSIE, how can approaching the islands for the plant exploration you can see in the open sea. So what is the adventure? What is the way? How can reach safely? So this is a glimpse myself approaching for the islands to explore. I am standing with that banana, what I am told ki over 4 meter long, world largest in fructescence. This species discovered by myself in 1900, sorry, 2012 and published in 14. So 4 meter long in fructescence you can see in the nature in that banana. So this is a plant exploration by BSI scientists. How can collect the specimen without any damage, without any harm. That is called as sustainable use. So we are not harming. We are always thinking towards the how can conserve and how can save the plant diversity. So this is the way of collection for the identification. So I earlier slide I discussed ki worldwide plant diversity attracted by the various scientists, various workers throughout the globe. So recently, Solanaceae authority potato family, Dr. Sandra Neff visited in the islands. She is interacting with me, with my scholars, researchers in the field. So you can see how can people are enjoying and how can study in the field in this slide. So this is the current status of the plant genetic diversity of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Angiosperm is top. Approximate 2,433 species have been recorded. Gymnosperms are very poorly represented, not only in the Andaman, throughout the globe. Gymnosperms belongs to the Jurassic period, time of the era. So most of the plants are extinct or some are only surviving, struggling for the survival on the earth. And out of 9 species, 2 species have been discovered as a new to science by myself. It's my pleasure to share with you all. So pteridophyte is also very few in number. So total 3,410. But still the knowledge of the lower groups, especially bryophytes, algae, fungi is still insufficient and considerably requires intensive floristic surveys that will can contribute to the upgrade the knowledge of the cryptogamic flora of these islands. But fortunately, I got as a regional head 2 experts, one from algae and one from fungi. So work is initiated. Hopefully, within 3 years, we will update the cryptogamic flora of the islands. So dominant family as entire country in islands also is Poaceae with 197 species. Already I told that gymnosperms are very poorly represented. 3 species of cycas earlier, only 1 species recorded, but myself discovered 2 new species of cycas. I will show in the next slide. So genetic resources, plant biodiversity is a natural source of products to the medicine and food industries. It provides the different basic raw materials and contribute to supply new genetic information useful for breeding programs and for developing the more productive crops and more resistant plant to the biological and environmental stresses. So this is a significance of the plant diversity, especially I am talking about our island. So our island is the very rich in terms of the plant diversity. So this is a glimpse of the one of the economically important plants, Pandanus lirums Andamanicum, endemic plants. So economically it is very important. Fruits, the needs of the food of the tribes of these islands, especially Nicobaris and Sompens tribes. The fruits is used as a staple foods and flour of this fruit used as a bread during the breakfast. So this is a teca species found in the especially in Nicobar group of islands and used by the tribes in place of the potato. So this is the tuberous plant belongs to the Araceae family, Takeaceae family, and already told about this tree species, state tree Pterocarpus delverjoides. So this is a palm, Licula peltata. Commonly, this leaves used for making the Nicobari hut with the local bamboos by tribes especially, and tribes also these leaves as an umbrella during the rainy season for protecting. So you can see the glimpse of Nicobari hut and met near the beach for showing the tourist. So this is a made Nicobari hat made from that palm Licula peltata. So this is we have a also very good cane wealth in the country as well as in our islands. Approximately 18 species of cane represented in these islands, which are used for rafting, house construction, making baskets and poles carrying goods and furniture. The leaf sheath is used as a scraping coconut for feeding pigs by the Nicobaris. Andaman canes are better quality than the mainlands and very costly in terms of the manufacturing of the furniture. So you can see the glimpse in the natural forest, Calamus andamanicus, and this is a fruit. We also have a very good wealth of the bamboo, approximately 40 species of the bamboo recorded from these islands, and most of the bamboo species are highly useful. It is well known throughout the country, throughout the world for the construction of hut or thatched house by the ethnic tribes, settlers of the island. So recently, BSI scientists, it's my pleasure. It is invented by myself as introduced by Dr. Mala Trivedi, reusable eco-friendly drinking extra. So you can see this is a glimpse of the reusable eco-friendly drinking extra and granted patent in the year 2023. I was over 4,000 this straw distributed during the celebration of the 5th June 2018 and in presence of our Honorable Minister Sri Harshvardhanji. That time he was the Honorable Minister. He called me, you come with the 5,000 your straw and you distribute among the all public to make a awareness about the use of the single plastic. But I made this one reusable and we have a more than 20 times use this straw as it is well known if every bamboo have a silica layer so there is no very least chances for the contaminations. So that's why I have developed one reusable technique and finally I got it patent from the government of India. So this is a major achievement of the this regional center. So this is a glimpse. Almost most of the paper, print media, this was in the coverage after the patent and during the registration of the patent continuously and popularized among the society. So we also have a 6 tribes and all tribes and rural peoples have close to relationship with the nature and fully dependent upon the forest products. So you can see this is the glimpse of the one of the tribes, Jarwa tribes, decorated their body with plant parts, leaves, barks, fibers, inflorescence. And you can see the beauty of the nature. How can they use the natural beauty for decoration as a ornament. So this slide is showing the status of endemic taxa. Till date, we have recorded 432 endemic taxa. Out of them, gymnosperm is very less in number, and two species of gymnosperms as a endemic to these islands, not found anywhere of the world or in anywhere state of our country. And this two species discovered by myself, and the degree of endemism is estimated to about 12% of the total plant diversity. So endemic genera, the most interesting feature of the flora of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands is the discovery of 5 genera. These are the list of them: Septomeranthus of the hemiparasitic family Loranthaceae. As Dr. Mala Trivedi ji introduced, I have discovered one genus. So this genus is discovered by myself from the Nicobar group of islands, and this is endemic to this island. So in our country, total number of genera is 9 in the family Loranthaceae. So this is the genera characterized by the 7 mirrors flower. So only this genera show the 7 mirrors flower. Remaining genera of the hemiparasite are mistletoe, are 5 mirrors, or 6 mirrors, or 4 mirrors. And in this genera, this is a taxonomic character. I have recorded the 7 mirrors flowers. I will show in the next slide, and approximate 315 endemic taxa in angiosperm. Of them, over 25 taxa have been discovered by myself. So this is a present status of the endemic taxa, and this is a glimpse of the endemic taxa discovered by myself. You can see 7 mirrors flower dissected, and fruit is also very unique in the shape, earthen pod shape, surai like. You can see the just a left side in the image. So this is a glimpse of the endemic taxa. You can see Spheropteris nicobarica, endemic tree fern species, and only found in the Nicobar. This is a endemic tree species, and very restricted in the distributions, and endangered in the state, and threatened because of the natural disaster. There is a so many sliding and the heavy cyclones. This is the major threat of this species. So you can see the natural forest and beauty or population of this species. And this is the glimpse of the one of the pteridophyte, rare pteridophyte, Helminthostachys gelenica. This plant is conserved in our garden, BSI garden in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and we have collected from Nicobar and multiplied in our garden and nicely growing. This is the one of the threatened pteridophytes, and this is the glimpse of the Diplangium proliferum. This is before 2 years, I have recorded a new record for the India. I have been discovered from the Little Nicobar Island, and this is first time reported from the India. You can see the nodal petiolar part arising a new seedlings of these pteridophytes. So there, this is a glimpse of the Ophioglossum reticulatum. This is well known for the highest number of chromosomes, approximate 1260 number of chromosomes, but size wise this plant is very small. So this is a beauty of the nature and diversity of the nature. We are top on the evolution, but we are having only 46 chromosomes. But this plant is very small and having a 1260 chromosomes number. So this is a glimpse of Cycas chani. I told this Cycas species discovered by myself, and you can see it is taxonomically characterized by two lateral horn-like structure in the female reproductive organ, megasporophyll, right side. You can see the two lateral horn-like structure. This is a identifying characters of this species, and with this horn-like structure, this plant, this species is easily recognized in the natural forest. Myself, during the exploration in the forested area. So this is another species. So it's my pleasure, and this species discovered by myself, and honor to my professor, my teacher, my guru, Professor D.R. Misra, Cycle Dharmarajai, and he had taught approximately over 40 years gymnosperm and have a lot of contributions. So I honor to his contribution and made this species Cycas dharmarajai. And this species is characterized by a hook-like structure. You can see in this image, easily recognized in the field, apex of the megasporophyll having a hook-like structure, and this character not recorded any species throughout the world. So that's why this is a new and endemic to this island. So earlier only this species Cycle gelenica was known from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This species have a distribution in a adjoining country, Sri Lanka. So this species found in Sri Lanka and Andaman and Nicobar Island. This is a very common in our islands, but both Cycas channi and Cycas dharmarajai, these are very rare and only few individuals are I have been recorded in the natural population. So they are under threat and very rare. So this is another gymnosperms, Netum species, Netum latifolium. This is a tree species, and so this species represents the first record of the genus Pyrostia, belongs to the coffee family Rubiaceae. So this species also named after my name and discoverer of this species scientist honored me. It's my pleasure to share with you as my commemorative names briefed by Dr. Trivedi in the introduction. So this is the species. You can see till date tree have been discovered as a new. So this is the surprise. If the small plant we have discovered in the dense forest, so you can imagine how much rich the Andaman in the plant diversity. So it is a lot of scope, lot of um, resources is there unexplored. So need to be explored and document and conserve. More important is the conservation. Documentation is very easy, but nowadays conservation is very tough task. So this is another species, Morindopsis assisii. This species also discovered by myself, and that exploration led by myself, and this species honor to our present director Dr. A. Mao, Asisio Mao. So I honor to him this species Asisii, and this is the second species of the genus. First species of this genus recorded from the China and second from the India, and only two countries having the species. Otherwise, this genus not found any other country. So this is another species of the Dendropthy, and this hemiparasitic plant also honored me and named after my name, Dendropthy lalgii, and recognized nowadays first Mislato species recorded from the Nicobar Islands. And remaining approximate 9 species of Dendropthy have been recorded, 8 from the Andaman group of islands. This one is only from the Nicobar group of islands. So this is the glimpse of the endemic hemiparasitic species. So this is a banana. This banana discovered, and among my discovery, this banana species is more popularized and first time appear in 2015 in the IES examinations. First time 2015, and this is characterized by the orange fruit pulp. You can see in the image, pulp is just like papaya, and every fruit having over 400 viable seeds. You can imagine 400 viable seeds are there, and that inflorescence is a green cylindrical in shape with bract, dark green. Usually bract of the banana is red or purple in color. This one is the green. When I was in the survey in the forested area and got this species, that time I was 101% without study. I was sure that this is new in the science, new to the science, because I have never read out any green inflorescence banana. So this is a characteristic feature, and it also have a ethnobotanical value, dried basal portion of the dark green cylindrical spathy inflorescence and seeds are used to cure the various alignments, jaundice, blood pressure by the tribes of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So I have inquired and documented from the Ranchi settlers. They use his dried leaves powder with the honey for cure the jaundice. So this is the my documentation. So this is another species discovered from this island by myself, and this species I have honored to our former director Dr. Paramjit Singh Musa Paramjitiana. So you can see the infructescence and fluorescence is entirely different from the earlier species in the first photograph. So this is a mango species in the Andaman, wild mango, Mangifera andamanica. You can see just like a hen egg, shape is hen egg and very small in size. I have tasted and pulp is very sweet, very sweet. Only अपने यहाँ जो दशहरी खाते हैं उसका मैच होगा ये, otherwise no comparison to the others. So you can see the Mangifera nicobarica. You can compare the UP mango tree and this mango tree, common mango tree, Mangifera andamanica. There is so many canopy, but here is canopy is very less and top, and trunk is very tall. We are not able to take a photograph in the dense forest of the entire plant. So this is the things. This is a wild cashew nut, Semicarpus kurjai, and this photograph taken from my garden. And the plant parts are medicinally used by the tribes of Andaman and Nicobar Islands by curing the various alignments. Still, it is awaited the biochemical analysis. Most of the endemic plant species, because of the endemism in island, there is no facility, research facility, biotechnology lab, or other biochemical laboratory. So it needs to be further study in that area. So this is a Dylinia andamanica endemic to these islands. Common is called as chalta, used in the chutney in place of the tamarind by the especially Bengalis people. So this is the endemic plants found in our island. So this is the beauty of the endemic chalta, and this is the carisa, carandas, karonda, our UP people use for the chutney with podina karoda. But this species also discovered by myself from these islands. You can see the fruit color and shape of the leaf is entirely different from the cultivated one. So this is a genetic resource. All species found wild are a genetic resource for improving the crop, development of the resistant variety, disease resistant variety. So these are the natural resources available in this island. So this is a gold mine of the plant diversity. So you can see this is the nutmeg plants endemic Myristica andamanica, Javitri and Jaifal जिसे हम कहते हैं. This is the natural resources. Nut with fleshy pericarp. That fleshy carp is used for making the Javitri, and seeds is used as a nutmeg. So this is the one of the endemic species. So we have a more than 6 nutmeg species. This is another endemic species, Nima andamanica. You can see, you can compare both fruit. This is the large in size, spherical in shape. This is the elongated in shape, and tree size is also very less in comparison to the Meristica andamanica. So this is another economically important plant, Garcinia dhanicarensis. This is the edible plant and sold in the market and other species, but this resource is available in the tropical evergreen forest of these islands, and it will vary is sweet and sour in taste. And we have a over 100 plant, 100 tree individuals in our garden. So this is the one of the recently discovered species by myself and my team, Gamphoistema andamanensis. Just flower is just looking like a Santa Claus. You see in the flower magnified view, looking a face of the Santa Claus. So this is a Lamiaceae family species endemic. This is the glimpse of the Mistletoe species discovered by myself, Macrosolen andamanensis, endemic to these islands. So this is recently discovered from the Long Islands by myself. This is the four mirrors flower, having a four mirrors flowers. You can see in the reflexed lobe of the corolla and fruit, and flower is a umbel shape, and fruit is also in the shape of the umbel, and characterized by the first record of the mistletoe species in the islands, serving as the host plant and offered as a larval food influence fecundity of the caterpillar of butterfly. So you can see in the last image caterpillar of the butterfly feeded the leaves, showing one of the leaf apex feeded by that butterfly larvae. So recently we have documented this one. This is the one of the threat of the plant diversity also, but without this one, how can animals or butterfly survive? So this is another mistletoe species, Scrula paramjitae. You can see the endemic and threatened used by the tribes, and it's this species honored to our former director, Dr. Paramjit Singh. So Paramjitai. So this is the ficus. You know, Bargat people, all species, but here you can see the ficus species, Ficus andamanica. Fruit is entirely different. You can see this is the endemic species of ficus. We are earlier, before posting in Andaman, I am only familiar with the Ficus religiosa, Ficus benjamina, and Ficus bengalensis, like that. Some species common. But after posting here and started the work, I found this species is the very and discovered by earlier former foreign researchers. So this is the another endemic Nicobar species. Flower is very beautiful and very scented, attractive. So Rajada and Sani discovered this plant. So Andaman Nicobar Islands is a tropical rainforest geographical region. But this plant is a xerophyte. Only one species of the xerophytic species, Euphorbia epiphyloides. This is the single species recorded in the Andaman. So this species also throwing a message in the nature, in the human society, how can acclimatize in the adverse condition. We are crying, temperature is rising, we are crying climate change. So how can this species acclimatize in the tropical rainforest? This is the xeric plant. So need to be make a eco-friendly. So eco-friendly term and sustainable use of the life. Already examples are available in our nature. So I am seeing this type of species in that way. So this is the one of the glimpse of the, this is the highly medicinal plants and used by the tribes. Its population is very limited, very confined. I have during last my 15 years exploration, I have found only few localities with this species. So this is a glimpse of endangered palm species, Bentinkia nicobarica. In our country, the only two species of the genus Bentinkia are recorded, one from Nicobar and another from Western Ghat, Bentinkia candapalm. And this is the Bentinkia nicobarica. We have more than 300 plant under ex-situ conservation in our garden of this plant species. You can see this is the another species, endemic species, inflorescence used by the tribes for the decoration or other purposes. Nowadays, this species also endangered in the category, and population is very few. So this is a pencil orchid. Everybody is familiar with the orchids, students. So this is the pencil orchids and Lucia balakrishnai. And you can surprise most of the audience is biotechnologist. And this species discovered by the executive engineer of Andaman and Nicobar Island, Mr. Sarad Misra, belongs to Odisha, posted in Andaman, and he has a very keen interest in the nature and discovered this new species. So it is not new. It is not a need to the go only the specialized person is discovered or invent anything. Needs to be interest. If you have interest, everybody, every student having a IQ, every student having a potential to discover, to invent, needs to be interest in that area and your surroundings. No need to go in the other, yeah, think in the other area. So orchids are usually epiphytes, but we have a terrestrial orchids also. You can see the glimpse of the two endemic terrestrial orchids, Euphorbia nicobarica and Euphorbia andamanensis. This is a vanilla species. Every audience is familiar with vanilla. Essence of the vanilla used for making the flavor of the vanilla ice cream, yeah, any ice cream. So this is the natural resource for that oil. So seeds of the vanilla used as a extraction of the oil for making the essence of the sweets or ice cream. So this is the glimpse of the another endemic species, vanilla sanjapai. This species named after the former director Dr. M. Sanjappa, and discovered one discoverer from the foreign, Mr. Wood, is also involved here. So you can see the pot. Pot is very beautiful, and this photograph taken by myself from the Little Andaman forested area, and that area is only recognized for the population of this species, and this species characterized by the pubescent floral leaves. You can see in the top right side flower. So this is the glimpse of one interesting gingiva species, Etlangera fengeli, endemic to these islands, and the plant's parts are used by the tribes Andaman and Nicobar Islands, curing for the various ailments, especially skin disease, arboreal pain, and abdominal pain, and antithalamic troubles, etc. So this is commonly called a torch ginger. You look like a torch and very beautiful. And we have a one section in our garden, gingiva section. There is a this plant is nicely growing, and it is interesting. Leaf paste of this species applied on the body during the honey collection from the honeycombs by the tribes and local. They make a paste and apply it on the whole body of the paste and directly extract the honey. Honey, there is no chance of the bite. They remove from the comb and they easily extract the honey without any harm, without any damage. So this is another endemic gingiva species discovered by myself, and one of the author is my director also, and it is characterized by the tuberous root. You can see the root is tuberous and fruit having a very long infructescence axis stalk. You can see in the last photograph very long stalk of the fruit, and this fruit is just like a lotus flower, look like lotus in the nature. So Andaman and Nicobar Islands have a very rich vegetations and natural resources, and in terms of ecology and economy both. So these are the higher biodiversity I have tried to cover up. If we talk about the lower plants. So history, first documentation on the algae, Kalurappa filicoides. First time it is known from the William Randolph Taylor, University of Michigan, USA in 1965. And this is the first collection, and this collection was made by Dr. I. Norris, and you can see this drawing is made by that fellow. So this is a beautiful drawing and made by the Indian scientist, especially Dr. K.S. Srinivasan. It is well known in the field of the phycology and Phycological India. He has been published, and more than 600 specimens of seaweeds from these islands are collected and deposited by him in our industrial section of the museum, Calcutta, West Bengal in 1945 and 55. So this is the lower plant history. Nowadays, we are going to explore, and hopefully within 3 or 4 years, we will document updated things about the algae. So this is the present status of and history of the seaweeds. What is the catastrophic tsunami in 26 December 2004 had devastated many seaweeds habitats of these islands, causing both qualitative and quantitative decline. But we are surveying and documenting the seaweeds also, and pre and post tsunami diversity was studied by only Mantry 2005 and 6. Thereafter, no study. So we have started in the last year 2023. So hopefully result will be positive. So this is the total taxa of the seaweeds 245 documented in the 60 years research on the seaweeds of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This is the recent publication based on the old or earlier documentation, and it represented approximately 25% of the seaweeds diversity of our country in the islands. So sea grasses exhibit low taxonomic diversity with already I have shown the tables. This is a glimpse of the sea grasses. This photograph taken by myself during the exploration, and you can see the glimpse of mangroves, one of the very important ecosystem found in our islands. In India, the mangrove flora represented by 59 species under 41 genera and 29 families. Indian mangroves cover 4,827 square kilometer with about 57% of the along the east coast, 23% west coast, and remaining 20% is only 20% is in our island. So total of 58 species under 28 families are representing to the flora of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands of these mangroves. I have recorded and published in 2012. Thereafter, we are documenting and try to complete it. So this is a glimpse of allied and obligate facultative mangrove species. So this is a glimpse of Sonrelia alba. So you can see Nipa fruticans, and this species is famous for the size of the fruit. Size is approximate over 10 kg per fruit, minimum 10 kg, very big size of the fruits. I have been recorded, and this is a natural beauty. And we have a very poor hydrophytic vegetations, as we have discussed. Andaman is a tropical rainforest. Marine ecosystem is here dominating. So sweet water body is very few in number. So that's why only common hydrophytic vegetation have been recorded from these islands. So in addition to endemic flora, many non-indigenous plant species are also known for the horticultural and medicinal value in the islands. This is a glimpse of Trichogenthes tricuspidata. Vegetative parts of this berry with fleshy carp are used for curing the various ailments in the islands. It is well known. So this is the edible berry rich in the carotenoids, fatty acids, vitamin C, and other minerals is used in the various traditional systems of medicine and culture. In Vietnam, the red oily pulp is cooked to the flavor and red color to the rice dish joy gak. This is the dish and which is served during the feast occasions such as wedding. Newly married couple, especially they offer to that food of for the newly married couple. So this is the another Diospyros, this color. Its pulp have a very rich quantity of ethyl alcohol and vegetative parts are also edible, berry or usable in the various and also used in the medicinal purposes. So this is the one of the tree species Aphanomyxis polystachya, very rich natural resource for the frugivores birds, especially bat. I have experienced in our garden this approximate 10 tree species in our garden, and in every tree night bats are visited only for this fruit. So this is a Beccaria ramiflora, commonly called as Andaman grapes, but its common name is Burmese grapes sold in the market, and fruit is sweet and sour. We have also conserved this plant in our garden, have one section, more than 200 tree species are there in our garden. So this is another edible berry we have in our garden, and this is used food and the various traditional system as a medicines. So you can see the glimpse and beauty of this berry, and this is the leaves of the Temperia species, and its leaves used as a vegetables and the various traditional system fruits also used by the herbivores tree birds species. So this is the wild grapes, and this is a very curiosity. I have been collected in 2012. Still, I am trying for the germination, but I fail. Never found any result. So that means there is something. It could be after eaten by the bird, something is there, some enzymes are there, then it will be germinate. But in the ex situ conservation, I am not succeeded in to establish this vines. So this is the Andaman, and I never seen eaten by the any wild animals or any birds. Maybe they visited in night or something. I don't. But during collection, I never spotted any things to this one. So this is very risky to taste it. What is the taste? So that's why I have not tested this one. So I never found any ethnobotanical documentation regarding this one. So this is so many lot of things are unexplored, undocumented in this island. So this is a glimpse of Melotus philippines, commonly called as Sindoor tree species. So this is a natural resource, valuable source of the natural dye, commonly called as Sindoor vermilion. In our Indian culture, our sister, our fathers, our mothers married women used sindoor or kumkum. So this is the natural resource. This is the fruits of the natural resource of the vermilion. So we have also 6 species approximate of the Heliocarpus rudraksha species, and plants parts also used by the tribes as ornamentals and the medicinal purposes. Already recorded this one. So you can see the flowering and fruiting twig of the Heliocarpus rudraksha tree. This photograph taken from my garden myself that time, but unfortunately, before 3 years during heavy cyclone, that tree was fallen and died. So this is unfortunate for us Suki, because I think I have estimated over 50 years old that tree was very nicely flowering and fruiting, but nowadays I don't have that much size. So threats, biodiversity of these islands have a threats from natural disaster, tsunami, heavy cyclones, climate change, increasing population, anthropogenic activities, change in land users, over exploitation, urbanizations, etc., invasive herbivory pose a great threat. As I discussed, mistletoes eaten by the butterfly larvae. So this is, you can see the glimpse of the loss of vegetation during tsunami occurred in 2004 in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So this is the very small damage in the, but very big loss in the Nicobar group of islands we have, islander people have experienced that time. So you can see more recently this one discovered by this is myself. You can see how can damaging the larvae of the butterfly of that mistletoe. Mistletoe is itself hemiparasites, depends on other tree species, and this butterfly depends on that. So this is the ecosystem relationship. So you can imagine what is the beautiful relationship in the nature, and this is the one of the threat, but we should invent the device how to protect both flora and fauna. This butterfly and this mistletoe also needs to be invent the way and things. So that's why I am showing, because biotechnologists are sitting there. So it is a very appropriate message for the coming or budding scientist. I think I told budding scientist, Dr. Malak Reddy, it will be, I think, more appropriate for our audience. They are the budding scientists. So you can see another Musa species, banana species, also damaged by the butterfly larvae, herbivory. You can see how can they eat in the leaves and maybe very harm, and if population is very limited or restricted and they attack, then ultimately one will lose either butterfly or that. And some butterfly I have found very specific for the host species. So that's both are gone from the nature if we are not think about this. So the conservation of plant diversity is an important issue occurring in the human population worldwide, and anthropogenic pressure, the introduction of alien species as well as domestication species and the chronic weeds its infestation have dramatic effects on the plant diversity, which is reflected in the increase in the number of threatened species. So conservation of plant biodiversity can be performed in situ or ex situ way. So BSI, along with the survey and documentation of plant wealth, not only in the islands, throughout the country, we are maintaining a ex situ conservation sites. In Andaman and Nicobar Islands, we are maintaining a garden for the ex situ conservation purpose and long-term monitoring perspectives. So it is called as named as Dhanikhari Experimental Garden cum Arboretum, and we have a different section, Bambusetum, Pomatum, Kurch plant for the rare and endemic threatened plant, Dhanvantri medicinal plant, wild banana plant, gingiber sections, aquatic plant section, fernery, orchids, herbal gardens, succulent plants, Niagara and more recently we have developed one section for the spice garden. So this is a glimpse of our garden, and total area is 30 hectare and 3 hectare land for clear land for the experimental purpose and 27 for the hectare area as a natural forest. So we are actively involved there ex situ as well as in situ conservation, and we are raising the seedlings of the rare and threatened plant and introduced in the natural habitat. This is the one of the way for the in situ conservation. So this is the inside glimpse of our garden. Now you can see if any times you visit, and you can see the model of the plant diversity of Andaman and Nicobar Island, because we have a most of the rare and threatened plant species under the ex situ conservation, and till date approximate 600 plant species are under ex situ conservation. So this is a glimpse of the, and you see the avenue of the that endemic palm Bentinkia nicobarica. So this is the glimpse of the cycad conservatory. You can see there, because I am working on the cycad, so I have established their cycads conservatory also. It is my interest and my mother institution interest. I belongs to the DD Pant lab, and he is very fascinating for the cycads. So we have a bamboo, very good diversity I discussed in the earlier slide. So this is the bamboo section, and this is the avenue of the one of the local wild Erica palm, Erica triandra. You can see this avenue of the Erica triandra. So this is a glimpse of the bamboo system. This is the succulent plant in the center. I have collected and put as a part of the ex situ conservation Euphorbia epiphyloides. As I discussed, this species is the only succulent or xerophytic plant species found in our island. So various programs conducted in the garden from time to time for the various stakeholders, and every year not only local, throughout the country more than 1,000 people are visited from the various states. Recently, 22 states NCC cadets, approximate 200 cadets have been visited in our garden, you can see, and I have organized the conservation program, awareness program in our garden. This is a glimpse of the aquatic section of our garden, and they are the visitors in actively participated in our biodiversity conservation program. So islands have a very fragile ecosystem, which shows unique characteristic of association of three types of ecosystem. In the starting, I have shared this line: marine, mangrove, and inland forest ecosystem. You can see the association of the three types of ecosystem: marine, water, mangrove in the middle, and inland forest in the top. So this is the Sangam. So this is a pride for me. I belong to the Sangam Allahabad, and I am working also the Sangam of the plant diversity and the Sangam of the ecosystem. So junction of the ecosystem. So this is the three types of ecosystem juncture: marine, mangroves, and inland forest. So a great, but nowadays a great challenge lies in the protection of this unique ecosystem while safeguarding and livelihood security of people of these islands. So photographs of scientists and their illustrations presented here are taken from the Royal Botanic Garden Kew and Botanical Survey of India. So I am acknowledging, and this slide, before saying, you can see I want to share few lines. Advance in plant biotechnology provide new options for collection, multiplication, and short to long term conservation of plant diversity using in vitro culture techniques. So biotechnology nowadays very important branch in terms of the conservation of biodiversity. Significant Progress has been made for conserving endangered, rare, craft, ornamental, medicinal, and forest species, especially for non-orthodox seeds and vegetative propagated plants for the temperate and tropical origin both. So, cell and tissue culture techniques ensure the rapid multiplication and production of the plant materials under the aseptic conditions and aesthetic value. Medium-term conservations by the mean of the in vitro shows the growth storage allows the extending the subculture from the several techniques, months of the several years, and dependence on the species to species. And various organizations and institutions have been involved in these techniques and resulted a very positive way. One of the example, cryoconservation. Cryopreservation is the well-known technique for the ensuring the safe and the cost-effective long-term conservation of the wide range of the plant species. So this is the common example in the field of the biotechnology, how to biotechnology is helpful in the plant conservation. So the number of plant species for which cryopreservation techniques are established and validated on a large range of the genetically diverse assertion in the increasing steadily. So plant diversity is important in the biotechnology because it provides a source of genetic information for development, new crops, and more resilient plants. So I would like to say with this slide, save the forest, save our lives, because without plant, life can't exist on the earth. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your elaborative talk. And I hope students definitely get enlightened to see a very endangered and endemic flora of Andaman as well as Nicobar Island. I think none of us have seen this kind of diversity of vegetation starting from angiosperm to algae and fungi in one island. So definitely it's enlightening for all of us. And thank you so much for taking your time and giving this insightful full lecture to our students. So with this, we conclude this session. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time, and we keep on inviting you further.
Our knowledge, my knowledge with your students and you also. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.